Hey Felix, welcome to the MasterCard Cup. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on through. We'll put you back in your dress position and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your dress position, let's first of all take a look at your posture. Spine is reasonably straight and on a tilt. Your legs come down into a nicely unlocked position. You hang your arms down nice and naturally out in front of you, and the club works out to the ball. So you're achieving some pretty good posture here in association with some good balance. Might want to just try and refine that up a little bit in the sense of sort of maybe pushing your tail out and up a little bit, pushing your sternum out, up, and forward. That'll straighten your spine a hair, maybe get it on a little bit more of an angle as well. From there, keep your legs unlocked as they are. Maybe by getting your tail out and up, it might straighten the legs just a little bit, but still keep them in a nice unlocked position. From there, arms can continue to hang down, and the golf club can work out to the ball. But making this adjustment, I think it would put you a little bit further away from the ball. I think based on how you're starting, a little bit tall in this red position, and then if we were to redefine the angles, we'd reduce the amount of sort of maybe elevation change that we're probably going to see in your golf swing, just based on your rounded spine, the fact that you're bending your knees, sitting back on your heels a bit, and maybe a little bit too close to the golf ball. Okay, so a little refinement of the posture would be ideal. Slightly fine-tuning the distance away from the ball and just increasing the angle to your spine a little bit to reduce the fluctuation up and down in the golf swing. From here, taking a look at your alignment. Alignment's not too bad. Feet are aiming in this direction. Carry it out towards the intended target. Now, theoretically, club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet. Parallel lines on camera do have an appearance of converging. So we do see that you are also set up down the left edge of the fairway, meaning towards the left rep there. So a little bit of improvement with your alignment would also be ideal. From here, let's do a little split screen comparison. Between you and Jordan Spieth. I've got some color-coded lines on the screen just to use as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. We can see with Jordan Spieth as we initiate our takeaway, simply turn our shoulders, draw our arms and hands back as well as the club. Want to see the club coming back along the red line on plane. Also in the early stages of the golf swing, we will also want to incorporate some good wrist hinge into play where we're going to transition the club head currently being below and in front of our hands to getting that club head above and behind our hands. Very important move in the backswing there. As we continue to work the club, want to work the golf club from red up towards the blue-yellow V zone. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, want to have the left arm and the golf club either situated on the yellow line, anywhere within the blue-yellow V zone, or physically up on blue as we see with Jordan Spieth. We also want to create full shoulder rotation. We want to do this with a stable right leg, all the while maintaining the posture that we achieved at address. So I'm just going to point this out, and the fact that Jordan's spine is sitting here at about 54 degrees or so. If we go back down to address, he's in the exact same position. So when we create a rotational move, basically what we're going to see is we're going to see that his head virtually doesn't really move, and when we rotate off of that axis that we achieved at address. Okay, with you, let's go ahead and mark your spine. You see you're more vertical at about 60 degrees than he was, I think at 54 we stated approximately. Also put a little box around your head, and I think we're going to see quite a change in elevation with your spine and where your head moves during your backswing here. So let's go ahead and initiate that takeaway. We can see here as the golf club moves back, have a tendency of moving your hands to the outside of your swing plane. So one of the things you want to do is when you initiate your backswing here, let your hands, arms, and golf club, let them work around you. Basically, golf swing, when it functions back on a proper plane, it's also functioning on an arc, and an arc is a circle, meaning the club head should be moving inside the ball, not outside the ball as we see it right here. As you continue to track that golf club back, probably going to see everything stay a little bit still outside, which we do through here. So again, you got to get that club head working inside, and as we stated with Jordan, that club head's got to transition from below and in front to above and behind. Right now that club head's staying completely out in front of your hands. At some point in time, your subconscious brain is going to say that you've got to drop this club head in behind you to have any sort of power. So if you're eventually going to do it, you might as well go ahead and initially do it. So right about here, you probably start to let that club head fall back in behind you a little bit. Right there. Go to the next frame. More. And more. Okay? So when you finally get to the top of the backswing, taking a look at your arms, you finally get yourself set in a pretty good position here. I mean, your left arm's maybe a little bit shallow. I don't really mind that too much. Just means the left arm's slightly underneath your yellow line. You've turned your shoulders really well, stable right side. The arm geometry is in great position relative to your core, and the club's in good position relative to your arms. I really, really like it. But notice your head and your spine. You really changed your elevation as I expected. So at this point in time, we can see your spine is now dropped down into a position about 47 degrees. If I recall, I think we'd said it was about at 60. And look how much your head has dropped. Okay? So I would actually like to see a little bit more in this kind of starting position, as I originally stated, right? I had mentioned, get your tail out and up, try and increase the angle to that spine a little bit. And that would have positioned you more in this red position, and therefore, obviously, we wouldn't have to create this motion moving us out of position from where we'd started. As we go ahead and create our transition back into the ball, simply want to move our weight from our right foot to our left. We want to fire our knees and our hips laterally to the target. We want to unwind our core, and we want to fire our hands. And in doing so, we need to make sure that we're bringing the golf club from the blue-yellow V zone back down onto red, which is where the club originated. And that's exactly what we see here with Jordan Spieth. We can see the golf club returning back to being on plane. At this stage of the golf swing, we also want to take a look at the relationship between the lead form and the golf club. I refer to this as the backwards check mark. It simply means the club head right now is remaining above and is behind his hands coming into the hitting zone, which is going to allow him to create a lot of power in his golf swing, let alone also his ability to hit the ball straight, due to the fact that, as I've already mentioned, the club has returned back to plane, which is a main criteria in producing straight golf shots. Let's go ahead and watch your transition back into the ball here. Excellent dropping of your hands and arms. Looks great. And as we move into this pre-impact position, you actually achieve, let's go back one frame here. You actually achieve a really, really good position here. And what I mean by that is, if we take a look at your lead form in your golf club, you have your backwards check mark. So creating some power in your golf swing won't be an issue. The other thing that we see is we see that your club has very much almost returned back to plane. So we have a very similar look to Jordan Spieth. I mean, yeah, your club has not fully returned back to being on plane. And then as it pertains to Jordan Spieth, as we come into the ball, he simply tracks into the ball directly from this red line from on plane, which I had already stated is the main criteria in producing straight golf shots, in accordance obviously to our alignment. And then lastly, the club face has to square up via having a good grip. So if we go to your next frame, let's see where the club drops to. It drops right onto plane, so that's beautiful. And then we come into the golf ball, and we're coming into the ball basically from a perfect on-plane position. So if we connect the dots, we can sort of track and get a sense of exactly how that club was moving into the ball, and that club is moving into the ball from on plane. So therefore, this gives you the ability to hit a straight golf shot in accordance to your alignment. Your alignment not being too bad, it's a little bit left, so you can hit the ball straight in accordance to your slightly left line, and everything should still be fine. Now again, the last criteria that has to exist here is the club face has to square up at impact. But notice your head again and your spine. You've moved back up into the original position where you started, which obviously you need to, because that's where the club head was positioned behind the ball. But there is a lot of elevation change in your golf swing, down and then pulling back up And the problem with this motion is that it's going to make it very difficult for you to get the ball always on the face of the golf club. And in this particular case, because you're pulling up, you pulled up too far. Looks like you also got the club face a little close, so you're hitting the ball low off the leading edge of the club with a shut face. You're basically driving this ball down into the ground. So we see it there bouncing off the ground. You're moving through. You got some pretty good footwork coming into play here, where you're getting up off your right heel and you're moving yourself through to a really nice finishing position. That looks great. Overall, you've got some really nice athletic characteristics in your golf swing. I mean, your hands work great. They come back. They fire through. Your core works well. You coil. You uncoil. You've got decent enough footwork that allows you to get through to a good finish. Your alignment's good. It's a hair left. Posture balance, not too bad. Needs a little bit of refining, which would help you with your distance away from the ball. But the most important thing is really achieving slightly better posture, so that when we create our rotational movement, we don't have this fluctuation change up and down, which is causing you a little bit of havoc on where you're going to hit that ball on the face of the golf club. Okay? So you do have to reduce this up and down movement, because your actual physical golf swing is so much athletically better than, unfortunately, that shot that we produced here. And I know for certain that when you do get the ball on the face of the club, you will hit the ball way better than in this particular swing that we recorded from you. Okay? Anyways, if at any point in time you ever want to work on any of these aspects and fine-tune your golf game a little, I'm over at Glen Abbey in Oakville, obviously where the event was held. Be happy to structure a little program for you. And also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all, you guys are looking for a unique gift to provide your guests, feel free to reach out. Be happy to discuss my swing analysis services. Anyways, hope you had a fabulous day, and I hope you enjoyed an opportunity to see your swing on video. Take care.